Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It is my pleasure to welcome you to a Day of Goodness. This is the Michigan Muslim Community Council's first opportunity to speak to our community and extend give them the chance to donate in support of our many service projects. And so, without further ado, we would like to introduce you to the work of MMCC with a video overview. And we'll be right back with live interviews. Welcome.
The Muslim community is growing, and its need and challenges also are growing.
Being born and raised in Michigan, I unfortunately have many times felt like a second-class citizen.
The Michigan Muslim Community Council's purpose is to unify communities, promote common values, Islamic values and American values that are shared by all. And we want to be an advocate for people that need the help of the community.
But I believe what we're really doing at this stage of the work is building a foundation, working to create a base.
MMCC is the voice of Muslims in Southeast Michigan. It's an umbrella organization, and the services they provide and the projects that they have for the community, not only the Muslim community, but the community at large, is beneficial to all.
And we just need to have a stronger voice to let people know that, we are no different than you. We have as much right to be here as anyone.
The Michigan Muslim Community Council is an umbrella because it convenes leaders and convenes activists from across the communities and gives them access to people and to resources and to grants that are not otherwise available. We help unify the voice because we know that together in strength there is numbers, and we have that capacity here in Michigan. We have so many people that are hungry. Some of the statistics are showing that 1 in 4 children are hungry and not having normal nutritional meals. This was a great need, and so the Michigan Muslim Community Council has decided to fight hunger head on.
The food comes to MFS, they get delivered there, they pack it and put it in boxes for each family.
We need MMCC support in order to continue this program so we can serve our needy brothers and sisters.
Our obligations to help all the time, to help until we meet our God.
If we raise enough money, I hope one day we could have a large food pantry that people could go in and from all walk of life, all background, go walk in and walk inside it and shop like they do at any other grocery store.
I see the role of MMCC as being vital in terms of policy making and support for grassroots nonprofit organizations on the ground. I'm hoping that they will continue to be our voice in Lansing.
This is a wonderful opportunity to not only educate ourselves and our youth, but also to bring the issues that are important to our communities to Lansing and to meet our representatives.
As I think a Muslim, it's our responsibility to really, this is very general, but make the world a better place. And I feel that we really can if we're involved in the political process.
I want to commend you for holding this event and for clearly getting our youth involved, for getting them active and participating and hopefully inspired by what they see and what they hear.
We started in a room on the 4th floor here with like less than 30 people. We ended up in a big conference room in the House office building across the street, and now we are in the Capitol with not even enough room for everybody to be here. That to me is a huge success, and it's the leadership of this group that brought us together and brought us to speak to our elected officials and let them know more about us.
MMCC has really found an important role in helping community organizations providing great services, whether it's women who are victims of domestic violence, whether it's children in foster care. Our goal is to identify wonderful work that's being done in the community and then channeling Muslim communities' resources to help them.
This is the first Muslim transitional home in Michigan. None. Before, our sisters used to end up in a shelter home, which is shared by 50 women, same bathroom, no halal food, nothing like that,
Huda Clinic is an extremely successful project. It started with at the Muslim Center with a couple of small rooms on the second floor. We worked with them, we supported them, we raised money. And with the money that we raised, we helped them purchase a new facility that's bigger, much larger and more like a true clinic.
Tending to the sick, ill, keeping them healthy, keeping them productive is overall in the long term good for the society.
I think it's important that community organizations work together, such as Huda Clinic, such as Muslim Family Services, Zaman International, the soldiers on the ground that are doing the work. We certainly need the monetary support. And then also there's the opportunity for youth in the community to have volunteer outlets and places to get their community service hours. So it creates a win-win.
We hope that by doing these services, number one, we stay true to our faith of helping the people around us, whatever their religion, whatever their faith. We hope that we make Michigan a better place. This is our home and our community, and it is our moral obligation to make this place a better place for all.
As a believer of MMCC, I encourage everyone to support the organization not only by giving money and donations, but also donating time and resources.
So many important service projects will be touched by your contribution, by your accompanying dua, because the work needs to be covered, it needs to be blessed, and needs to be strengthened with your prayers.
When you give money on the Day of Goodness to MMCC, you're giving money to all those projects together. So you are supporting Food Pantry, you are supporting the Huda Clinic, you are supporting social services.
Just as we support the local mosques, the local schools, the local service organizations, we need to support the MMCC because it brings all of these groups together, advocates for them and speaks on behalf of them to our civic leaders, to our media, and it serves a critical role in bringing Muslims to the table of our great state to be participants and contributors.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back after this wonderful presentation, overview of the work of MMCC. And it's my pleasure to welcome our first guests today. Dr. Muzammil Ahmed is the chairman of the Michigan Muslim Community Council, and Imam Ahmed Saleh is one of our senior members of the Imams Council. And I would like to begin by asking a question to Dr. Muzammil. Dr. Muzammil, I know that you were deeply involved in the establishment and the development of MMCC as well as its concept. Could you share with us a bit about the vision? Why is MMCC important for the Muslim communities in Michigan as well as for the larger community in Michigan?
That's a great question, Dawood. The Michigan Muslim Community Council was developed, built on the effort of the Council of Islamic Organizations and the Islamic Shura Council of Michigan, 25 years of effort to bring the Muslim communities together. It is an umbrella organization that unifies the Muslim communities, the Muslim nonprofits in the area. It allows us to promote the shared Islamic and American values and promote the common good. So it really is a way to have the Muslim communities harness their strengths and their and their interest in helping the community and helping the state get better.
Very good. And can you give us an idea of why MMCC is so focused on developing community services and partnerships with other organizations?
Yeah, well, one of our mandates for being Muslims in the United States is to give back to the community. And this is where MMCC really find its niche. We want to help the Muslim community and the organizations in the community work together to give back. A lot of individual organizations are doing such wonderful effort, but we hope to coordinate all their efforts, be the umbrella so that the people from various sectors of the community who are doing wonderful things can magnify their efforts on a larger scale. And that's, I think, one of the reasons we're here today.
That's excellent. And obviously what we want to do is to develop those partnerships in a manner that will increase the services and the benefits for all of our community. Dr. Muzammil, obviously as a Muslim, I understand very well the very important position, the role of our imams. Could you speak a bit about the role of the Imams Council and the contribution that it's making to these objectives that you're talking about?
That's a very good question. The Imams Council is an integral part of the Michigan Muslim Community Council. You know, the Imams are our religious and spiritual leaders. They guide the community, and we want to help them in their efforts. So the Imams Council meets regularly, and all of the Imams from various sects, from different ethnicities, different communities get together and help, again, lead the community. And they've had wonderful initiatives that they've led, working with youth, working with people who are having marital problems. We've had various summits to bring Shia and Sunni communities together, intra-faith efforts. So I think the Imams Council really is, we're really proud of our Imams and the work that they do, and they're a very important part of what MMCC is about.
Thank you, Dr. Muzammil. Let me take this opportunity to move to Imam Saleh. My dear brother, can you share with us from an Imam's point of view the value of this relationship with MMCC as an organization that's committed to strengthening our families and our communities across Michigan?
I want to just begin with one or two ayat of the Quran and one of the ahadith. Now Allah says in the Quran in Surah Balad, La uqsimu bihadha al-balad wa anta hillun lihadha al-balad. If we play on the words hillun lihadha al-balad, that you are residents in this town or this country, it's also anta hallun lihadha al-balad. You become the solution to this nation. I think MMC is an attempt to then offer many solutions to the multiple issues and challenges that we face as a community. We live in a community in which our grandchildren will grow up, and home is not where our ajdad are buried, our grandfathers, but where our ahfad, our grandchildren, will be buried. And so how do we leave a legacy behind for our children 100 years from now that they could really look back and be proud of us? And it all starts with organization. I gave a khutbah at the Capitol Hill a few weeks ago, and I spoke to Nihad Awad at a beautiful office that they have there. Nihad said that all those, whether they're Islamophobes or those who are seen as our rivals, what they fear most is organization. And if you have an organizational structure, we are second to none. We can have quantum leap of progress, and we can imitate the Jewish and the Catholic and any other community for that matter, and even bypass some of the phases they had to go through. So offering solutions is important, but especially that unity, that is strength. A Muslim is a Muslim if they are allowed to be on Arafat together. Bringing back that Arafat experience, taking our community to go beyond the ethnocentrism. You know, I just came from a conference with the World Congress of Muslim Philanthropists, and I was an active moderator and participator. Dr. Faisal Qazi was one of the founders of the Whitestone Foundation, taken from the Hajar Aswad that used to be white and turned black. One of the very startling figures that he gave is that 81% of our Muslims are more concerned about the internal threat than the external threat. Only 48% of the Muslims surveyed were concerned about external threats like Islamophobia. 81%. So if our Muslims feel overwhelmingly that the internal dynamics of our community, if we are not organized, we can be our own worst enemy and self-destruct. And we are not going to leave great organizations behind. That is all the more reason why we should have the interfaith and interfaith. Now, the interfaith is a new civil rights movement. Du Bois spoke about the color line. Ibu Patel speaks about the faith line. We need that interfaith, but more importantly, we also need that interfaith. There's nothing as powerful as networking and marketing ourselves effectively. The Prophet ﷺ, having been a CEO of a company, and we say this in a positive sense of being CEO, Islam could only have spread had it been for the Prophet's superb marketing skills. And so MMCC, I envision, will have just that little edge of being a PR for Islam and marketing us in such a way where we do more contributions than complain, move beyond blame, beyond accountability, and just offer the broader community great solutions.
And Jazakallah khair, Imamina. That's definitely some food for thought. Dr. Muzammil, could you please speak a little bit to this issue of the very high amount of moral authority and influence that our imams exercise in Muslim communities in Michigan? I think this is going to play a major role in developing these critical community services that we're focused on today.
Yeah, the imams have unique access to many people in the Muslim community, whether through the Jummah or the Friday prayers, whether through the weekend services and classes that are offered, and just the fact that they're moral leaders within the community. So they reach out to many people, and quite frankly, the work that we do here at MMCC can't be done, and certainly can't be communicated with the Muslim community at large without the role of the imam. So they're a critical part of what we do, and we've actually integrated them into most of the projects that we're running without the imams, essentially, and their moral guidance and their support. We would not be successful.
Thank you for that. And Imam Ahmed, building on what's already been shared to this point, could you talk briefly about the efforts of the Imams Council to increase the relationship and the solidarity between the Ummah, between the Imams, and why that's so important to fulfilling our obligations to our communities?
I think we often give the Imams less credit in what they are due, and there's a tremendous amount of hours and effort that goes into becoming a Hafiz and becoming an Alim. Sometimes we studied for 20 hours a day, for 6 days a week, for 6 years or 10 years. And so I think that there's just a wealth of talent that goes in there. Something simple, and I think what is crucial to the discussion today is like the interpretation of zakah.
Right.
Zakah doesn't have to mean purification, and that you have to get rid of the money that very year. Increasing the word zakah from tazkiyah means growth, and interpreting zakah as development rather than just purification is important. In Malaysia right now, there's not only 8 categories of zakah, but 14 categories. In the time of Umar bin Khattab, we had the Mu'adh bin Jabal from Yemen. He sent money back to Medina. And Umar bin Khattab said, the Quran says you have to spend the zakah money among the rich, the poor of Yemen. He said, I've already exhausted the 8 categories and this is the money that's left. He did it not 1 year, but 3 years in a row. Umar bin Abdul Aziz also used this surplus money to build roads, to build infrastructure. Even the interpretation of how zakah could be used, instead of just evaporating our money and we put that into endowments, and let us say we tell our community, fine, go have some policies so that you can have sustainability of all our organizations. That is where the moral and religious authority of the imams are going to be crucial to say, okay, it's okay, community, go ahead and make sure that you have endowments that Islam will be sustainable for the next 100 years or 200 years from now. But I often thought that just a few bunch of 30 or 40 imams coming together and speaking about different issues, until I realized when a conflict happens in Syria or conflicts happen in Lebanon, we can easily deflate that conflict because of what we've already done in the past. There's a saying of the Prophet, "Ta'arraf ilallah fi raha ya'arifka fi shidda." Get to know God in times of ease and He will get to know you in times of panic and difficulty. When we network in times of ease and peace, then to deflate conflict and panic and paranoia is very, very easy, especially when it comes to interfaith collaboration.
Because of the relationships that have already been developed.
That we've created.
Imam Ahmed, could you also speak briefly about the area of sadaqah? Because zakat is obligatory.
Yeah.
How should our viewers understand the role of giving charity for the pleasure of God, fi sabilillah? And what role does that added contribution make in community building?
Yeah, so it's important, as I said, not to only be a firefighter Muslim where we just put out fires and we are in a survival mode. But at the same time, while we are trying to survive, we've got the highest amount of refugees, we've got so many poor. If we're going to put all our money and channel it just to the poor, we are not going to make Islam sustainable. We're going to constantly just fight symptoms and not the root causes. So taking Islam from just being purifying and just looking at acute issues to something that is more developmental. The word zakah, when Allah speaks of the main, the principal ayah of zakah, إِنَّمَا الصَّدَقَاتِ لِلْفُقَرَاءِ وَالْمَسَاكِينِ وَالْعَامِلِينَ عَلَيْهَا وَالْمُؤَلَّفَةِ قُلُوبُهُم. Allah uses the word sadaqah and not zakah. So Allah uses the word sadaqah and zakah interchangeably. So we could use zakah for development and especially for projects such as MMCC, our own project to establish education and many others.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing with us today. And I want to extend our appreciation and thanks to both of you for joining us. We pray that you have a wonderful day and that you make dua that there will be generosity come forth from our community.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. Inshallah.
So this is our first opportunity to give you a chance to become a part of the day. And that means it's time to pull out your checkbooks, to pull out your cell phones. This is a very exciting and interesting opportunity and challenge. This is the first time as the Islamic presence in Michigan that we've reached out to our community members as well as our community members that are still in Michigan, as well as the many that have traveled beyond the state and now are working in different places in the United States and even globally. So what we would request you to do is to pull out your cell phone and donate. Be the first to provide the example, to be able to help to build the funds that are needed in order to provide support for our service organizations. In the upcoming segment, we're going to start to dig into some of the work of our institutions and our organizations so that you may become better informed. And we're blessed today to have some wonderful leaders coming in to share information and additional share additional information about why today makes such a big difference. I have a little bit of time, so I'm going to take the opportunity, just go back to our guests for a minute. Dr. Muzammil, speaking intimately and from behind the scenes, you play a major role with your experience, with your professionalism, and with your genius in identifying ways to increase the capacity of the community to do good. And today we are celebrating the Day of Goodness and this chance for people to start to make a big difference in a collective effort. Could you share just briefly a little bit of information about the vision for this Day of Goodness?
Certainly. You know, the social media and online marketing has become such an important part of what we do. We really thought that we need to break away from traditional fundraisers where we're spending hours sitting in a dinner and listening to speeches. We really thought that we can channel our electronic media for good and for wonderful purposes. So one of the wonderful things with MMCC is that we're connected to multiple nonprofit and community organizations, Zakat eligible organizations, and we thought, why not just spend the day, have people just take a few minutes out of each day to get online, use their cell phone or a smartphone or iTablet or whatever it might be, and make a commitment or a donation to the service activities that they would ordinarily support anyways. As was pointed out, it's our religious obligation to support community efforts, and this is a wonderful way without having to go and spend hours at a dinner or at an event to just support all the things that we are mandated to do, from food pantries, support of women who have been victims of domestic violence, people who are hungry, renovations to massages and to homes of people who are in need. The project that we call the Ramadan Fight Against Hunger, where we spend a lot of resources and effort during the month of Ramadan to feed other people in the community who may be hungry, who may not have an abundance of food or resources. This is a time that we thought we can channel this effort before Ramadan to get that support the Muslim community and the greater state of Michigan needs to improve the state and the community services for everybody.
Thank you, Dr. Muzammil. I would, in the few minutes that we have left in this segment, I would like to just share a little bit of information from one of the khutbah, from one of the sermons of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In one of his sermons, after giving thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he said, "O people, know that Allah has chosen Islam for you as your religion, as your deen. Beautify your Islam with generosity and pleasing moral values. I wish you know that generosity is a heavenly tree with its roots in paradise and its branches in this world. Those of you who have generosity will adhere to one of those branches, and that branch will carry him or her to paradise. As for the ungenerous, that is a tree with its roots in hell and its branches in this world. Whoever clings to one of those branches by being a miser or ungenerous, it will carry him to hell."
I have something to add.
This portion of the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, I wanted to share with you today because as you checked in to this event, I'm sure you noticed that the logo has this beautiful symbol of a tree. And in Islam, a tree has so much meaning, so much significance. And yet I think most of the time we think of it in terms of concepts that are tied to a dunya. Today, as we appeal to you, to your generosity, we also know that you're going to be dealing with all of the challenges of taking care of your responsibilities and your obligations in daily life. And our family obligations are a very high priority Islamically. However, we are also taught that Iblis a'udhu billah and his shayateen, his devils, in fact, work through trickery and through whispering, through the waswasal. And one of the biggest approaches that they use is to spread seeds of doubt and fear, that what we will receive in this life will be insufficient to take care of our families, to meet the challenges, to meet the obligations that we have, as individuals and as communities. It's critical that we remember in our daily life, and I appeal today, that we keep in mind that all of our rizq, all of the bounty, all of the blessings that we have comes from one source, and that's Almighty God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And He has told us that when we give seeking His pleasure, that we will know that it will come back to us multiplied, that we will not have poverty as a result of that. And in fact, that what we have will be multiplied 70 times, 100 times, but even more important, that unless we spend not only fulfilling the obligation of zakat, but also out of our charity, then it will be extremely difficult to purchase Jannatul Firdaus and heaven. Now we would like to go to our next segment, giving thanks to our leaders that provided this important information and understanding for us in the first segment. And so with that, we'd like to invite our special video related to community services and the partnership that MMCC has with those important organizations.